Kobe, how impressive was this for Ganassi of the team's final race with Cadillac?
Yeah, I thought it was a very impressive drive from Chip Ganassi Racing in the final race with Cadillac. And next year, basically like Meyer Shank Racing did this year in IMSA, we're going to see Chip Ganassi Racing taking a sabbatical, and they're just going to be on the sidelines. And as they've already confirmed to Racer.com, we're going to see Chip Ganassi Racing go into the Indy Next Series next year, which is going to be very exciting, to keep all their people on the payroll and all of that. Yeah, and then in 2026, fully expect them to be back with some sort of manufacturer. Don't know what that's going to be. There's been some rumors about them potentially, returning to GTP in 2026 with a brand new manufacturer coming in. But sports cars, they're going to be on the sidelines next year, which is super unfortunate because Chip Ganassi Racing is one of the best in the business, and they truly know how to make a car go fast, as we saw in this race. It was definitely an unlikely victory for them because, like you were saying, they ran into some issues early in the race, and I really didn't think they were going to be in contention. Got back on the elite lap, and then Ringer van der Zande, we knew, since he's going to be looking for a job next year, he hasn't announced his 2025 plans. He was going to go all out. It was basically going to be like a checkers or wreckers situation. We've seen Ringer been on both sides of that. He took the checkers like he did yesterday, or he's been on the side, where he's shunning the car off into the tire barrier because that's just who he is. He either goes all in or he doesn't. And this time when he went all in, it completely worked out. Thought his co-drivers, Sebastian Bourdais, Scott Dixon, those two don't need any introduction. We already know what they're capable of. They did their jobs, and Ringer did his at the end and ended up getting the job done. So definitely a great way for Chip Ganassi Racing to go out, with Cadillac on top with a victory in the Motul Petit Le Mans, one of the crown jewel races on the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship schedule. And thankfully, they got the headlights working at the very end, on the last lap. When the headlights went out, I was thinking, oh my goodness, what is race control gonna do? But since it was so close to the end, I honestly thought that race control wasn't going to do anything about it. Since it is a crown jewel race, and since the race was about to be over in a couple of laps anyway. I know the rules are the rules, but I thought even if the lights didn't come back on, I thought they were probably going to, just let it slide, given that this was for the race win. I was thinking if it was a car, maybe multiple laps down, might have called them in, but thankfully, we didn't have to find out, and they were able to, work with Ringo on the radio, tell him which buttons to press and get this prototype's headlights back on, because once he took the checker flag, it seemed like the lights were working pretty well because he was definitely flashing them a lot in celebration, and it was a well-deserved victory for the whole Ganassi team.
Kobe, what are your thoughts on Porsche Penske Motorsports championship winning season? And was there more Ricky Taylor could have done in that situation, or was it just an unfortunate deal that was kind of unavoidable?
As I first and foremost, I want to say I think the rest of the GTP manufacturers are going to be working extremely hard over the short off season that IMSA does get, to try to close the gap, because Porsche, Penske Motorsport, they were in a completely different world this year. I thought they definitely had a leg up on over their manufacturer rivals there. Yeah, I thought both the number 6 and the number 7 did an excellent job throughout the season. They were able to win a handful of races and be more consistent than the other teams, and to get the job done. I think they took a huge step forward with that Porsche prototype program this year, and definitely a wonderful championship season for Felipe Nasr and Dan Cameron. Well-deserved championship effort, and it's going to be interesting to see how the other manufacturers are going to respond next year, because if you've been following IMSA silly season, there's going to be some major shakeups in the GTP field, because you have Meyer Shank Racing coming back. They're going to be taking over this Acura program from Wayne Taylor Racing. With Andretti, Chip Ganassi Racing is going to be gone. Action Express Racing is going to look different next year as well, because Pippo Durrani is departing the team. Yeah, so we're going to see a brand new driver lineup at Action Express. We also don't know what Jack Aiken's plans are for next year either, so expect to see a lot of change at the front of the field in the prototype category in 2025. And in regarding to Ricky Taylor, it was honestly really sad, see him all emotional like that, because we know how badly Ricky Taylor wants to perform. He's been with Acura, for a long time now. He's been with Acura, since the DPI era, when they were Acura Team Penske, and all of that, and then switched over he went back to his dad's team, and then Andretti and all of that. So it makes sense why Ricky Taylor was so emotional. He's been with Acura a handful of years, and he just really wanted to, to end this partnership on the right note. So it was unfortunate that wasn't able to happen. I know it would have been nice if the caution would have come out a little bit sooner. I think that could have potentially helped the situation, but given, the time of the race is pitch black outside, for goodness sake. There was really nothing Ricky Taylor could have done. And when you're going that fast, like that at night, especially during that section of the track, you're honestly just a passenger. And I don't think there's anything Ricky Taylor could have done in that situation, which makes it, just even more unfortunate. And you also have to look at the fact, that Wayne Taylor Racing has horrendous luck at this racetrack. I know they've been able to, see the good sides of the Petit Le Mans, but this time around, just wasn't the case. It always seems like they come down to this race, they have a chance to either win the race or the championship, then just something goes wrong, which ends up, taking them out of contention. And unfortunately, it was just one of those years where something just didn't go right. And it'll be interesting to see how the Wayne Taylor Racing Group does in 2025, because they're going to be going back to Cadillac. And as you remember, during the DPI era, they were a Cadillac team and then switched to Acura, now going back to Cadillac. And if you looked at the if you looked at the 2025 IMSA entry list that they just released this weekend, interestingly enough, it just says Cadillac Wayne Taylor Racing. I don't see the Andretti name, so I guess there's a lot of questions out there that need to be answered regarding to that.